Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. New venue, same message? It's a change of venue, but the message is the same, as pro-homosexual and pro-abortion politicians keep trying to coerce Catholics into dissenting from church teaching. You may remember the recent cancellation of a talk by pro-abort Michigan Congressman Gary Peters, scheduled to speak at Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Parish in Royal Oak, Michigan. Well, another such event was scheduled a few weeks later at the same parish, where it was expected that pro-abortion Minnesota Democratic Congressman Keith Ellison was to speak in support of the Occupy Wall Street movement to a mixed audience, including local Catholics, along with other politicians and community organizers of the same ilk. However, this event also met with a storm of protest that reached the ears of officials at the Archdiocese of Detroit, forcing the organizers, a group called Catholics for the Common Good, to hold it at a local Lutheran venue. This was the scene at Peace Lutheran Church, where RealCatholicTV.com was able to grab an interview after the event with Hanson Clark, a U.S. Congress representative for Michigan's 13th District, touting himself from the podium as a Catholic lay minister of Sacred Heart Parish in the Detroit area. Here's what he had to say.
See, I believe as a matter of faith that life begins in conception. This is how I believe. And then also, I'm likely viewed as a pro-choice lawmaker because of my votes in Congress. I just choose not to impose certain beliefs on the legal system, through the legal system.
An email sent out by an organization known as Catholics for the Common Good prior to the event mentioned that a staff member of the Archdiocese of Detroit, Ecumenical and Interfaith Relations Coordinator Michael Hovey, was scheduled as the presenter at the event, but he was a no-show. Critical merge. According to an article in our Sunday Visitor, the Archbishop of New York, Timothy Dolan, is describing the merging, repurposing, and elimination of some Northeast U.S. seminary facilities and faculties as giving, quote, flesh and blood to the new evangelization envisioned by Blessed Pope John Paul II. As the priestly vocation crisis reaches a critical mass, not only in New York, but also in nearby dioceses of Brooklyn and Rockville Center, a decision has been made to combine faculties and train all graduate seminarians at St. Joseph's Seminary in Yonkers, just outside of New York City, commonly known as Dunwoody. Citing the economy and not enough priests to staff faculty positions, the Archbishop commented that sharing resources is the answer, and that the days of individual dioceses having their own seminary are gone. The Center for Applied Research in the Apostolate at Georgetown University says that numbers of seminarians studying for the priesthood are some 4% higher in the last 20 years. However, the numbers of seminarians in studies, as well as those actually being ordained to the priesthood, have never recovered to levels prior to the Second Vatican Council, despite various efforts to nurture vocations amidst the much spoken of, quote, new evangelization. Canada to repeal hate speech clause. Canadians nationwide are celebrating what seems to be the death blow of a law that has been used to persecute Christians and conservatives for years. The country's government is backing a repeal for Section 13 of the Human Rights Act, which forbids, quote, any matter that is likely to expose a person or persons to hatred or contempt, end quote. According to LifeSite News, critics call the law the precise equivalent to the creation of a thought crime. It is known that conservatives have a large majority in favor of repealing Section 13, while the effort is also expected to draw votes from opposing benches in Parliament as well, when it comes up for a vote. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
Benedict versus Benetton. It may be the first legal brief in history to be sealed with a kiss, as the Vatican is now suing the fashion house Benetton over a series of advertisements showing a photoshopped image of the Holy Father, Benedict XVI, kissing the Muslim imam Sheikh Ahmad al-Tayeb. According to theblaze.com, the Italian-based clothing company has since pulled the advertisements, but the Vatican is moving ahead with the case anyway. The United Kingdom's Guardian newspaper reports that Vatican Press Secretary Father Federico Lombardi said, quote, "It is a serious lack of respect for the Pope, an affront to the feelings of the faithful, and an evident demonstration of how, in the field of advertising, the most elemental rules of respect for others can be broken in order to attract attention by provocation," end quote. The Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Bertone, has told the Holy See's legal defense team to take action, stopping any use of the image both in Italy and abroad. Pope Benedict XVI in Africa. The National Catholic Reporter is expressing surprise at Pope Benedict XVI's astuteness and powers of observations regarding Africa's most pressing needs as our Holy Father completed his pilgrimage to the continent over the weekend. Well-respected and prolific writer John Allen Jr. says that Benedict XVI took dead aim at the problems expressed by Benin's Catholic leaders, the most pressing being corruption and religious intolerance. Mr. Allen reinforces his surprise by mentioning the latest book by Italian writer Marco Politi entitled, quote, "Crisis of a Papacy," in which the Holy Father is perceived to be out of touch with the, quote, global and geopolitical aspects of his office. Allen mentions that despite what he sees as papal handicaps, quote, "For an octogenarian German pontiff often accused of being Eurocentric, it came off as a remarkably African message." I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure to check out The Vortex today, where Michael comes to us again from Rome. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.